So before we really begin, I'm going to ask, also really politely, if you happen to have a cell phone on you, a smartphone if you will, and if it isn't on vibrate or mute, could you please do so? One of my favorite times ever here at speech night was when Anna Plessinger is in the middle of doing her speech, and dead center right in the bleachers, her father's cell phone goes off, and the dagger she shot at. It was great. It was really great. So we need to make sure that we do that. If you look on your programs, and I can't thank Peter enough, Peter Priestman, for putting the programs together. They look rather slick. Clap for Peter. This is a change because usually in Mesa, people are saying Peter's name like this. Peter! So, how does it feel to get a compliment, Peter? It's nice. Yes, Peter, and then also Claire helped with the editing. We're really appreciative of that. You see on the program, there is an intermission. We'll take a solid 5-minute break. Our goal is to keep things going. So on that, I'm actually going to start the evening. Thank you. So I was challenged by one of my students, Bryson Lounsbury. Bryson Lounsbury has challenged me more than a couple times this year. She said, Mr. Oliver, you should eat this mushroom. Mr. Oliver, you should ride the zipper with us. I did one or two of those things, and the mushroom tasted disgusting. But tonight I thought I'd take a moment because Bryson challenged me to write a speech. And I'm like, Bryson, I know he's going to speech. He goes, yeah, but could you write a speech? I'm like, okay, Bryson, go for it. So I thought I'd write about the lessons that we've learned from speech night. And I'd also tie them with the lessons that I've learned from my father. So, one of the things that you learn from speech night is patience. Patience is, think about this, these kids, just like the parents, these kids have listened to each other's speeches over and over and over again. Yesterday we took the day, everybody gave their speech in the gym, and we had to sit for about 2 hours like you're going to have to do tonight. And they sat patiently. And the great lesson that they learned from that. Now, I could get into personal stories that would really embarrass me about the patience that my dad needed to have for me as I grew up as a kid. And quite frankly, maybe he still is looking and has that patience as time has gone on. But Dad, I thank you very much for the patience that you've had with me. The other thing is kindness. These students have offered all sorts of kindness to each other. They go through each day, and they're already kind. And then when it comes to speech night, I think we'd all agree, most people in the audience would not want to be where I am right now. They know that they're all in the same boat. So when they're giving a speech and they're giving feedback, they're so kind to each other. Hey, I did that speech long ago. I know what that was like. Or they give positive, constructive feedback that all makes tonight as magical as it's going to be. And then I think that thinks about the lessons that I learned from my dad. See, I grew up in Freiburg. I was born and raised like a par 3 from where I'm standing right now. And I get to, all the time, I listen to, even to this day, oh, you're Jimmy Oliver's boy. You're Jimmy's son. Sometimes that follows with a very humorous anecdote like, geez, your dad took a pickup truck and did cookies down at the rec center. Or the other thing that comes out of people's mouths are, you know, your dad saved my life in his time with rescue or his time in the drugstore. So it's very nice to get those lessons that I've learned from my dad and to see it from my students. The other thing that I learned from my dad would be the resilience. And I see that in my students. These kids are very resilient. I gave them a task. The 8th graders would say, I knew I had to write my speech 3 years ago. The 6th graders, I gave them their speeches back in September. These people have been like farmers, like Michelle Dutton and her family. They have been working the crops, weeding and watering, working on their speeches, and they have put the time in to be very resilient. I learned that lesson as well from my dad. That lesson was never so clear for me on a summer day when I was about 7 or 8, and he decided to pack the kids up and go for a shopping trip at Zayre's. We stopped at the Hiram Dike Dam. I had pickles, pink lemonade, and a tuna sandwich. As we left that day, something wasn't quite right in my stomach, and I blew the contents of my lunch out the window. And the window was open in the back seat, and I sprayed the side of the car, and it came right in and it hit my sister. What was the lesson? Resilience. My dad had a choice. Would we turn around, get a shower, bathe the kids, or would we continue on to Portland? We went to Portland. The last lesson we'd get would be validation. Validation for some sort of evaluation, I suppose, but really validation from what we're doing tonight. These kids are not here for a grade, honestly. They're here to really prove something to themselves. And that's that sense of validation that they're going to get. And for that, I'm very proud of them. Oh boy, I tried, I practiced. There was a time a couple years ago, Raina, I think you might have been on this trip. We went on a bike trip, we went down to Lovell's Pond, we went to Indian Point Beach, and my dad joined us. Do you remember that day? Bluebird Day. So I'm there at Lovell's Pond, and I'm doing my thing. I'm being a teacher, and my dad's there, and when we're all done, kids are getting on their bikes. Dad puts his hand on my shoulder and goes, "You did a good job." Well, I got all the validation I need. So, I say to the school board, I say to Mr. Robinson, I say to Mr. Locken, if he's here tonight, if you ever want to encounter him, check with my dad. So, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for coming tonight. Thank you so much for listening to me. And we're going to start the evening with Mila Pierce.
On behalf of the great state of Illinois, crossroads of a nation, land of Lincoln, let me express my deep gratitude for the privilege of addressing this convention. Because, let's face it, my presence here on this stage is not very likely. My father was a foreign student, born and raised in a small village in Kenya. As a kid, he grew up herding goats and went to school in a tin roof shack. His father, my grandfather, was a cook, a domestic servant for the British. But my grandfather had larger dreams for his son. Through hard work and perseverance, my father gained a scholarship to a magical place, America, which had stood as a beacon of freedom for so many who had come before. While studying there, my father met my mother, born and raised in a town across the globe in Kansas. My father worked on oil rigs and farms through most of the Depression. The day after 9/11, he signed up for Patton's army and he marched across Europe. When he got back, my parents studied on the GI Bill, bought a house through FHA, and moved west in search of opportunity. And they too had big dreams for their daughter, a common dream, one born of two continents. Not only did my parents share an improbable love, but an abiding faith in the possibilities of this nation. They gave me an African name, Barak, or Blessed, believing that in a tolerant America, your name is no barrier to success. They imagined me going to all the best schools in the land, even though they weren't rich, because in a generous America, you don't have to be rich to achieve your potential. They are both passed on now, and yet I know on this very night, they look down on me with great pride. I stand here today, grateful for the diversity of my heritage, and aware that my parents' dreams live on in my two precious daughters. I stand here today aware that my story is part of the larger American story, and that I owe debt to all who had come before. We gather here to affirm the greatness of our nation, not because of the height of our skyscrapers, the might of our military, or the size of our economy, but because of a simple premise summed up over 200 years ago, that all men are created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Hi, my name's Olivia Shenoy, but most people call me Ollie. I'm in 8th grade, and I will be giving my own speech. When I was little, I really wanted to go to summer camp just like my older sister, Emily. Every summer, she would spend weeks at Camp Nellie Huckins next to the water, enjoying the sunshine and fresh air. She had friends there that she will remember forever, and they have memories that only they could understand. They have this thing where they try to be Nellie. It means wherever they are in the world, even if they don't go to camp anymore, they try to live in the Nellie spirit and be all the things they learned at camp about being good people, friendship, leadership, and teamwork. Summer camp away from home is not for all kids, and a part of me thought I would never have what my sister had. Then I was asked to write this speech. While I was thinking about all of the topics I could have written about, I realized I have my own Camp Nellie Huckins. I have Mesa. We have memories that only make sense to us. We have classrooms next to the water and shared meals, and songs that play in our brains and on the bus rides. Like Huckins and Mesa, we also work on growing our own leaders. Starting in 6th grade, learning from those older than us in groups so that when we finally get there, we can take over as 8th grade leaders. I would never understand why my sister would come home crying so hard at the end of camp, but it was because I didn't realize how special camp really was to her. Mesa's like that. We watch out for each other, we care about each other's success. We have silly traditions, like when you get a haircut, you go up in front of the class and twirl, and everybody cheers for each other. We're met at the front door by Mr. Oliver, and he tells us he hopes we have a good day. No one cares what you wear except for Mr. Oliver. He only cares if you're just like an onion. And if you don't know what that means, it means wearing many, many layers. We have so many other traditions like Mesa Olympics, Goods and Bads, Foursquare, Community Partners, Fen, and finally, Speech Night. Speech Night is the best and worst part of Mesa. Standing up here giving your own speech is something you think is so far away when you're in 6th grade, but to the 8th graders it really means we're almost at the end of our time in Mesa. Camp Huckins has a saying that goes home in their letters every year. It says, "Huckins is not and has never been a complicated place." I feel like Mesa's like that, but it's hard for middle school not to be complicated. And if Mesa had to have a saying, it would be from one of the past students, Logan Smith, "Leave it better than you found it." When I was in 6th grade, I thought she meant leave Mesa better than you found it. But now I know she meant, like being Nellie, no matter where you are in the world or where you go, bring all that you have learned in Mesa with you and leave the world better than you found it. Live, laugh, love, Mesa.
Hi, my name's Avery Quinn, and I'll be reciting the poem If by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blame it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make an allowance for their doubtings too. If you can wait, but not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies. Or being hated, don't give way to hating. And yet, don't look too good, nor don't talk too wise. If you can dream, but not make dreams your master. If you can think, but not make thoughts your aim. If you can meet with triumph and disaster, and treat those two impostors just the same. If you can bear to hear the truth you have spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it all on one turn of pitch and toss and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they're gone, and so hold on even when there's nothing in you except the will that says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes or loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds with a distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
Hello, my name is Leif Manning, and I'll be doing Gettysburg Address, written by Abraham Lincoln. 407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation, so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it. Far above our poor power to add or detract, the world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what we did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus so nobly advanced. It is for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take the increased devotion to that cause which they gave their last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that that nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
My name is Gabriel Voer, and I will be reciting Desiderata by Max Ehrmann. Go placidly, amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly. Listen to others, even the dull and ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid all loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you will become vain and bitter. For there will always be greater and lesser persons than you. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble, for it is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution into your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. But be yourself, especially do not feign affection, neither be cynical about love. For in the face of all aridity and disenchantment is a perennial as a grass. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sun misfortunes, but do not distress yourself in dark imaginings. Beyond a wholesome discipline, for many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe. no less than the trees or stars. You have a right to be here. Therefore, be at peace with God, no matter what you conceive him to be. And whatever labors and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. Be cheerful, strive to be happy.
Hi, my name is Avery Jordan, and I'll be doing Charlie Chaplin's The Great Dictator. I'm sorry, but I do not want to be an emperor. That is not my business. I didn't want to rule or conquer anyone. I just like to help everyone, if possible. Jew, Gentile, black men, white, we all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's strengths, not by each other's weaknesses. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world, there's room for everyone. The good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical. Our cleverness, hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent and all will be lost. The airplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out to the good men, cries out to universal brotherhood, to the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions, millions of despairing men, women, and little children, victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed and the bitterness of the men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass and dictators die, and the power that they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish.
My name is Britney Bos, and I will be doing Malala's speech to the United Nations. Dear friends, on the 9th of October, 2012, the Taliban shot me in the left side of my forehead. They shot my friends too. They thought the bullets would silence us, but they failed. And out of the silence came thousands of voices. The terrorists thought they could change our aims and stop our ambitions. But nothing changed in my life, except for this. Fear, weakness, and hopelessness died. Strength, power, and courage were born. I am the same Malala. My hopes the same. My ambitions the same. My dreams the same. I do not even hate the child who shot me. Even if there was a gun in my hand and he stand in front of me, I would not shoot. This is the compassion that I have learned from Muhammad, the prophet of mercy, Jesus Christ, and Lord Buddha, This is the legacy of change that I have inherited from Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, and Muhammad Ali Jinnah. This is the philosophy of nonviolence that I have learned from Gandhiji, Baka Khan, and Mother Teresa. This is the forgiveness that I have learned from my mother and father. This is what my soul is telling me. Be peaceful and love everyone. The wise saying, "The pen is mightier than sword," was true. The extremists are afraid of books and pens. The power of education frightens them. They are afraid of women. The power of a woman's voice frightens them. And that is why they killed 14 innocent medical students in the recent attack on Quetta. That is why they are blasting schools every day, because they were and they are afraid of change, afraid of the equality that we will bring into our society. Dear fellows, today I am focusing on women's rights and girls' education, because these are the things that are struggling the most. There was a time when women's social activists would ask men to stand up for their rights. But this time, we will do it by ourselves. I'm not telling men to step away from speaking on women's rights. Rather, I am encouraging women to be independent and stand up for their own rights. Dear brothers and sisters, we want schools and education for every child's bright future. So, let us wage a global struggle against illiteracy, poverty, and terrorism. Let us pick up our books and pens. They are our most powerful weapons. One child, one teacher, one pen, and one book can change the world. Education is the only solution. Education first.
Hi, I'm Ann Bryant Burdett. I'm in 8th grade, and I wrote my own speech. I've heard many people say the phrase, "live in the moment," all the time since I was a little kid, and I just recently realized exactly what that meant. It means live as if anything could happen at any corner you take. It means don't worry about the past or the future, and most importantly, it means be grateful for the things you're experiencing currently instead of wishing you were spending that time doing something different. Taking life for granted is something many people do without realizing it. It has always amazed me how people never want to be the age that they are. I can say with full confidence that almost everyone in this room has said or thought, "I can't wait to grow up." But I also know that some or many of those same people have said or thought, "I wish I'd grown up slower," or something along those lines. When you were a little kid, you wanted to be a teenager or a grown-up because they were cool and important. When you were a teen, you wanted to be a child again so you could be careless and have no worries, or an adult who could make their own decisions and live their own life. When you're an adult, you wish you hadn't wished your life away so easily because you look back on it and realize how much you could have missed out on. Regret is a feeling that many humans carry with them throughout their lives. It's easy to gain and hard to lose, but I think you should live without regrets, or as little as possible. But why care so much about the things that have happened in the past when I'm sure everyone around you has forgotten about it? Laugh off those little moments and just leave them in the past without worry. Focusing on the little things of the past is much less important than focusing on the current moment or even your future. Living in the moment can also mean that you have to live a little sometimes. I know that many of you, including myself, have been or are considered good kids or good people. But that doesn't mean you can't have fun once in a while. I know I used to be scared to do anything fun or reckless because I didn't want to be considered a bad kid. But let's be honest, who actually cares besides maybe your parents? Some parents may not like this, but you're going to have to disappoint someone, may that be your parents, a friend, or anyone. You'll have to disappoint them at some point to really have fun and live in the moment, at least in my opinion. Being in Mesa has helped me live in the moment, even just a little bit. On each trip we take, Mr. Oliver takes pictures and videos of little snippets of things that we do on each day. He puts these in a shared Google Drive called the Mesa Media. I sometimes just look back on these pictures and realize that some days can hold, random days can hold important things like a new friendship or like a new inside joke. Another thing that Mesa has done to help me live in the moment is the assignment that's given to us twice a year, a reflective documentary. You have to pick something that's happened in the past year or years that you were in Mesa and reflect on it. All of these things, whether on purpose or not, have helped me live in the moment, even just a little bit. Each moment on this earth is a gift. Why not enjoy it? If there's anything I've learned, it's that nobody is here forever. You have to live in the moment, each and every day, the here, the now. Your future depends on what you do today.
My name is Ryan True, and I'll be reciting Charlie Chaplin's speech. I'm sorry, but I do not want to be an emperor. That is not my business. I do not want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone. If possible, Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We do not want to hate and despise one another. In this world, there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed where we shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much, but feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent, and all would be lost. The aeroplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness in men, cries out for the universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world. Millions of despairing men, women, and little children, all victims of a system that make men torture and imprison innocent people. For those who do hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish.
My name is Devin Coleman, and I'll be reciting the Martin Luther King speech. I'm happy to join you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. I'm not unmindful. Some of you have come here from great trials and tribulations. Some of you have come fresh from your narrow jail cells. Some of you have come from areas where your quest for freedom left you battered by the storms of persecution and scattered by the winds of police brutality. Continue to work with the faith that unearned suffering is redemptive. Go back to Mississippi. Go back to Alabama. Go back to South Carolina. Go back to Georgia. Go back to Louisiana. Go back to the slums and ghettos of our northern cities, knowing somehow this situation can and will be changed. Let's not wallow in the valley of despair. I say to you today, my friends, even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. I have a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that, I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out its true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream. On the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that even in the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat and injustice, sweltering with the heat and oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream. My 4 little children will once live in a nation where they won't be judged by the color of the skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream one day down in Alabama with its vicious racists, with its governor having their lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification. One day down in Alabama, little black boys and little black girls will be able to join hand in hand with little white boys and little white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day, I have a dream that every valley shall be exalted, every mountain and hill shall be made low, the rough places shall be made plain, and the crooked places shall be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. Amen.
Hi. Sorry. Hi, my name is Mila Pierce, and I'm an 8th grader this year, and I made my own speech. This speech is about my travels and how it helped me have a better understanding of the world. But let me tell you how it all started. It started on Christmas Day, opening presents like usual, but there was something special about this Christmas. My mom got us tickets to Puerto Rico with suitcases. My brother and I were so excited because we'll be going somewhere different and how this is our first time leaving the country. When my family and I were there, it was, well, so different. To its unique yet tasty foods, to the beauties of the rainforest and the people there. One of the most memorable parts of this trip was spending the night in the rainforest, sleeping in a hammock, listening to sounds of animals and water nearby. That was only, and then waking up to an amazing big breakfast made by the locals there. That was only the start of my travels and the view of the world. I've been to many places, but to me, it is still not enough. I've been to Dominica, Puerto Rico, Ireland 3 times, Portugal, and Spain. And no, I am not here to show off of where I've been. I'm here to talk about my experiences and how it gave me a different view of the world. Every place that I've been to so far, I can see how things work differently. For example, Portugal. Portugal is more about their art of their culture. To their beautiful artwork, to their beautiful structures, to traditional food like pasta de nata, or their fish markets along the beaches. And in my opinion, I think traveling is a great way of seeing the world and the beauties of their culture and even how things work differently in those places. And I do understand that traveling is not for everyone. And I'm not just suggesting to leave the country to experience this. Even leaving the state, you can get to experience the differences, even if it's just a little bit. And it can also be refreshing in a way. With viewing these experiences with the ones you love as well. I've been traveling with my mom for all of these trips, and I'm very grateful. I feel like she gave me a chance to view the world differently in a good way. And giving me a view of this world instead of seeing it on my phone or in a book by other people's experiences or took. For example, why look at a picture of a castle in Ireland that someone else took? Seeing it in person is so much better because you're seeing it with the people you love and you get to share that experience with them. All the things I see and get to experience will always be in my memory because I got to see and do it in person. I will never forget going in a castle in Ireland, going up a spiral staircase to a famous area to go upside down and kiss a rock. It was high up, and in the end, I didn't do it. But even getting to experience and see the design inside and out was the best because I got to do it and experience with the people I love. I've always thought and enjoyed viewing things in person. That's why I joined Mesa. And just like traveling, it is not for everyone. And I understand that. But I feel like even getting a small taste or feel, experiencing things by hiking, traveling, or even going on walks are all great ways. Go out there and experience it yourself. Do something that you have never done before. Thank you. Oh. Mom for giving me these experiences. And thank you, Mesa, for giving me the best 3 years of my life.
Hi, my name is Haley Tivitat, and I'm going to be reciting Why Go to the Moon by John F. Kennedy. We set sail on this new sea because there's new knowledge to be gained and new rights to be won. And they must be won and used for the progress of all people. For space science, like nuclear science and all technology, has no conscience of its own. Whether it will become a force for good or ill depends on man, and only if the United States occupies a position of preeminence can we help decide whether this new ocean will become a sea of peace or a new terrifying theater of war. I do not say that we should or will go unprotected against the hostile misuse of space, any more than we go unprotected against the hostile misuse of land or sea. But I do say that space can be explored and mastered without feeding the fires of war, without repeating the mistakes that man has made and extending his writ around the globe of ours. There is no strife, no prejudice, no national conflict in outer space as yet. Its hazards are hostile to us all. Its conquest deserves the best of all mankind, and its opportunity for peaceful cooperation may never come again. But why, some say, the moon? why choose this as their goal? And they may as well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose go to the moon. We choose go to the moon in this decade and do the other things. Not because they're easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we are willing to accept, one that we are unwilling to postpone, and one that we intend to win, and the others too. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Gia Weather, and I'm doing a poem called If by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make an allowance for their doubtings too. If you can wait and not be tired of waiting, or being lied about, don't deal with lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating. And yet, don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master. If you can think and not make thoughts your aim. If you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. If you can bear to hear the truth you have spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap of fools, or watch the things you gave your life to, broken, and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it in one turn of pitch or toss, and lose and start your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerves anew to serve your term long after they are gone, and so hold on when there's nothing left in you. Accept the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch. If neither foes or loving friends can hurt you. If all men count with you, but none too much. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distant run. Yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And, which is moral, you'll be a man, my son.
Hi, my name's Olivia Eveleth, and I will be reciting Barack Obama's second inauguration address. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Today, we continue a never-ending journey to bridge the meaning of those words with the realities of our time. For history tells us that while these truths may be self-evident, they've never been self-executing. That while freedom is a gift from God, it must be secured by his people here on earth. The patriots of 1776 did not fight to replace the tyranny of a king with the privileges of a few or the rule of a mob. They gave us a republic, a government of, by, and for the people, entrusting each generation to keep safe our founding creed. And for more than 200 years, we have. Through blood drawn by lash and blood drawn by sword, we learned that no union founded on the principles of liberty and equality could survive half slave and half free. We made ourselves anew and vowed to move forward together. Together, we determined that a modern economy requires railroads and highways for speed travel and commerce, schools and colleges to train our workers. Together, we discovered that a free market only thrives when there are rules to ensure competition and fair play. Together, we resolved that a great nation must care for the vulnerable and protect its people from life's worst hazards and misfortune. Through it all, we have never relinquished our skepticism of central authority, nor have we succumbed to the fiction that all society's ills can be cured through government alone. Our celebration of initiative and enterprise, our insistence on hard work and personal responsibility, these are constants in our character. But we have always understood that as times change, so must we. That fidelity to our founding principles requires new responses to new challenges. That preserving our individual freedoms ultimately requires collective action. For the American people can no longer meet the demands of today's world by acting alone. No more than the American soldiers could have met the forces of fascism and communism through muskets and militias. No single person can train all of the math and science teachers needed to equip our children for the future, or build all the roads, networks labs, and research labs needed to bring on new jobs and businesses to shore. Now, more than ever, we must do these things together as one nation and as one people.
Hi, I'm Tenley Cousins, and I will be doing Charlie Chaplin, The Greatest Dictator. I'm sorry. I do not want to be an emperor. That is not my business. I do not want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone, if possible. Jew, Gentile, black men, white. We should all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We do not want to hate and despise one another. In this world, there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we've lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that was abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent, all will be lost. The aeroplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out to the goodness in men, cries out to the universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions, millions throughout this world, millions of despairing men, women, and little children, victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing in greed. The bitterness of the men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish.
Good evening. I'm Lany Johnson, and I will be reciting a poem called If by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make an allowance for their doubtings too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting or being lied about, don't deal in lies. or being hated. Don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you have spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it all on one turn of pitch and toss and lose, and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there's nothing left in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch. If neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And which is more, you'll be a man, my son. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Juliana Johnson, and I'm doing the speech Gettysburg. 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived of liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in the great Civil War, touched whether that nation or any nation is so conceived and so dedicated. Can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hollow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggle here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little, no longer really say here, but can never forget what we did here. It is for us, the living rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who thus far so nobly advance. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they here gave the last full measure of devotion, that we're highly resolved that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, God, shall have a new birth of freedom in the government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not have perished from the earth.
All right, I'd like to thank everybody. That was great, first half. So we are going to take a very hard 5-minute break. If you need to use the bathroom, you need to get out and stretch your legs, that might be a good idea. 5 minutes. Looking at the clock, we're doing really great on time. I'd like to certainly applaud everybody that's gone so far. We're doing a great job. All right, Mesa students, let us find your seat. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue this evening with Darlene Schneider.
I have a dream. I'm happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. I'm not unmindful that some of you have come here out of great trials and tribulations. Some of you have come fresh from narrow jail cells. Some of you have come from areas where your quest for freedom has left you battered by the storms of persecution and staggered by the winds of police brutality. You've been veterans of creative suffering. Continuing to work that unearned suffering is redemptive. Go back to Mississippi. Go back to Alabama. Go back to South Carolina. Go back to Georgia. Go back to the slums and ghettos of our northern cities, knowing that somehow this situation can and will be resolved. Let us not wallow in the valley of despair. I say to you, my friends, even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. This is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out its true meaning and creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day, on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down at the table of brotherhood together. I have a dream that even in the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will one day be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that one day my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, by the content of their character. I have a dream. I have a dream that down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, one day, right there in Alabama, little black boys and little black girls, little white boys and little white girls will be able to join hand as sisters and brothers. I have a dream that every hill shall be exalted, every mountain and hill should be exalted, the rough places will be made plain, the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jasmine Clark, and the speech I chose is called Why Go to the Moon by John F. Kennedy. We set sail on this new sea because there is new knowledge to be gained and new rights to be won, and they must be won and used for the progress of all people, for space science like nuclear science, and all technology has no conscience of its own. Whether it will become a force for good or ill depend on man, and only if the United States occupies a position of preeminence can we help decide whether this new ocean will be a sea of peace or a new terrifying theater of war. I do not say that we should or will go unprotected against the hostile misuse of space any more than we go unprotected against the hostile use of land or sea, but I do say that space can be explored and mastered without feeding the fires of war, without repeating the mistakes that man had made and extending his writ around the globe of ours. There is no strife, no prejudice, no national conflict in outer space as yet. Its hazards are hostile to us all. Its conquest deserves the best of all mankind, and its opportunity for peaceful cooperation may never come again. But why? Some say, the moon, why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they're easy, but because they're hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energy and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one that we are unwilling to postpone, and one which we intend to win, and the others too.
My name is Avery Turner, and I'm in 8th grade, and I wrote my own speech. In today's society, we emphasize getting good grades. It's a way of measuring our academic success. But is that all success is? When I was younger, I did well in school. I was always reading way above my grade level, and I loved to write my own stories. I had a creative mind with no stress. As I started getting older, I started to enjoy other things, like sports and riding horses. I didn't get praised as much for going above and beyond. It became more expected than impressive. School started to become less and less important to me, and my interests changed. I still tried in school. My life was just occupied with other things. But still, the phrase "get good grades" was always in the back of my head. Now, my life is busy. My weekends are spent from 7 to 5 working at the barn, taking care of horses. I also play sports like field hockey, lacrosse, and other things. But still, I have to get good grades. Balancing school and homework on top of my life can be chaotic and challenging at times, and that goes for every student. I know when I enter high school, it's going to get more stressful. But sometimes I wonder why. Why do I have to get good grades? If you look this question up, it says good grades grant entrances to elite academic colleges. The reason we put so much time and effort into our schoolwork is to get to the next level. That is basically all of your academic life, just trying to climb higher and higher up the ladder. But what if that is not my dream or my goal in life? What if I don't necessarily have interest in going to an expensive competitive school that is going to leave me in debt for the rest of my life? The reason we go to college is to have a successful job which leads to a successful future. But success means more than that. Success means different things to different people, but ultimately success means feeling fulfilled and satisfied with the progress you've made in certain areas of your life that are important to you. Everyone has an idea of what good grades mean. Some see it as a proof of hard work, while others see it as a scale of how smart they are. I've come to the realization that having straight A's is not the only thing in life that matters. When I am older and I am no longer able to do everything, I'm not going to regret getting a bad grade on math quiz. I'm going to regret missing real-life opportunities and experiences because I was wrapped up in the expectation to get good grades. I am not anti-school. I think it is important to learn. But I also think you can learn on the soccer field. I think you can learn on the ice skating rink. I think you can learn in play practice. In the long run, I think in order to really have a successful life, that means doing the things you love, the things you are passionate about. I'm not saying to forget about school, and I'm not saying that it doesn't matter. But I am saying that your grades don't define your life, your grades don't define your future, and your grades certainly don't define you. There are hundreds and thousands of jobs on this planet. They are not the same. We all are being taught the same curriculum, but that does not mean you have to follow in the same footsteps as everyone else. We are kind of like snowflakes. Every person's brain works differently, and everyone has different strengths and weaknesses. There is no person on the planet exactly like us. Maybe you want to be a mechanic, or a farmer, or a real estate agent, or anything else in this world. If you feel like you really want to do something in life, then go for it, whatever that may be. The point of this speech is to say that there are many back roads in life, not just one highway. You can do things differently than others. You can have different interests than others, as long as at the end of the day, you're at your final destination, happiness.
Hello, my name is Jack Owens, and I will be reciting Obama's second inauguration address. Today, we continue a never-ending journey to bridge the meaning of those words with the realities of our time. For history tells us that while these truths may be self-evident, they have never been self-executing. That while freedom is a gift from God, it must be secured by his people here on earth. The patriots of 1776 did not fight to replace the tyranny of a king with the privileges of a few or the rule of a mob. They gave us a republic, a government of, by, and for the people, entrusting each generation to keep safe our founding creed. And for more than 200 years, we have. Through blood drawn by lash and blood drawn by sword, we learned that no union founded on the principles of liberty and equality could survive half slave and half free. We made ourselves anew and vowed to move forward together. Together, we resolved that the modern economy requires railroads and highways for speed travel and commerce, schools and colleges to train our workers. Together, we discovered that the modern economy requires that a free market only thrives when there are rules to ensure competition and fair play. Together, we determined that a great nation must care for the vulnerable and protect its people from life's worst hazards and misfortune. And through it all, we have never relinquished our skepticism of central authority, nor have we succumbed to the fiction that all society's ills can be cured by government alone. Our celebration of initiative and enterprise, our insistence on hard work and personal responsibility, these are constants in our character. But through it all, we have always understood that when times change, so must we. That fidelity to our founding principles requires new responses to new challenges. That preserving our individual freedoms ultimately requires collective action. For the American people can no more meet the demands of today's world by acting alone. No more than the American soldiers could have met the forces of fascism or communism with muskets and militias. No one person can train all the math teachers and all the science teachers that will be needed to equip our children for the future. No one person can build all the roads, networks, and research labs that will be new jobs and businesses to our shores. Now, more than ever, we must do these things together as one nation and one people.
I'm Jordan Norkin, and I'm doing Luckiest Man by Lou Gehrig. For the past 2 weeks, you have been reading about a bad break. Yet today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. I've been in ballparks for 17 years, and I've never received anything but kindness and encouragement from you fans. When you look around, wouldn't you consider it a privilege to associate yourself with such fine-looking men standing in uniform in this ballpark today? Sure, I'm lucky. Who wouldn't consider it an honor to have known Jacob Ruppert, also the builder of baseball's greatest empire, Ed Barrow, to have spent 6 years with that wonderful little fellow, Miller Huggins, then to have spent the next 9 years with that outstanding leader, that smart student of psychology, the best manager in baseball today, Joe McCarthy? Sure, I'm lucky. When the New York Giants, a team you'd give your right arm to beat, and vice versa, sends you a gift, that's something. When everyone down to those groundskeepers and those boys in white coats remember you with trophies, that's something. When you have a mother-in-law who takes sides with you and squabbles with her own daughter, that's something. When you have a father and a mother who work all their lives to help you have an education and build your body, it's a blessing. When you have a wife who has been a tower of strength and shown more courage than you ever knew existed, that's the finest I know. So I close in saying, I might have been given a bad break, but I got an awful lot to live for. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Solana Manning, and I wrote my own speech. Fear is always either rooted in the past or the future. Past experiences linger in our minds, taunting us and distracting us. At the same time, we also fear the future, for what it holds is unknown and uncertain. Yet still, fear is not bound by time. The past and the future still affect the present moment. To this day, I still remember being in a ski lesson and seeing ski patrol on the side of the trail. They were with a woman who had nearly lost a limb from a snowboard. I've always loved skiing, but still to this day, that memory has never left my mind. The chances of the same thing happening to me are unlikely, but possible. The world we live in is dangerous, and because of this, anything could happen at any time. We're surrounded by fear constantly. People afraid of the dark and the monsters under the bed have trouble sleeping. People who are afraid of failing school have constant stress. Living in fear of rejection and talking to others causes social anxiety. And the fear of being wrong causes one to never speak their mind. Fear is said to be a normal thing. Supposedly, it keeps it safe. Yet most of the time, it does more harm than good. We fear things that our minds tell us are dangerous. But what we don't realize is that everything we do involves some type of risk. Only 32% of Americans haven't been in a car crash. COVID is in the top 3 leading causes of death. And unfortunately, shootings are becoming more and more common. Scary things don't go away. If you focus on fear and worry, it will consume you. So instead, you must focus on the good. There are many external fears that are obvious, like local tragedy and the things we see in the news. But then there are so many subtle fears that we ourselves don't even realize until they wear us down. Fitting in can be something so small but have such an impact on who and what we become. It's this mindset that if we fit in, then we're more likable. Then maybe people won't judge us. And maybe the reason why we're so afraid of being judged is because of how often we judge others. As soon as we meet someone, we judge their appearance and intelligence. We also judge someone and what their potential is. We build up an idea of someone's potential that's based on what we think they're capable of becoming, not of who they are. The thing about potential, though, is it's just an idea. If you have lots of potential but never fulfill it, then potential means nothing. I think we're all afraid of running out of time and never fulfilling our full potential. Time. Time presses our fears down upon us, making them real. There are so many things in this world to experience, and our time is so precious, but yet we still waste it. Some people set low expectations for the fear of being disappointed. Then there are people like me who have high expectations that are unrealistic. This adds on a layer of pressure that adds to the fear of failing. You can't set your expectations too low, yet you can't set them too high. You have to know you have nothing to lose and still appreciate everything you have. You have to live with hope so that you don't live in fear. Otherwise, you'll be trapped in the cycle of worry. There are many quotes and other things that tell you that though life will move on, you'll always have the memories of your experiences. You can always rely on memories as a way to hold on to the things and people you love, the things that bring you joy. While moments will end, memories will last forever. But how can someone like me, who know this not to be true, live in this kind of mindset? For most of my life, my grandfather has had Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is a progressive disease that destroys memory and other important mental functions. Most of the time I've known him, it was just a minor thing that occasionally would get in the way. However, with time, the disease quickly began to consume him. Now he has forgotten people altogether. While I still have memories of him telling me stories, he doesn't know my name or who I am. And it's a very sad disease. There's always the continuous pain of someone slowly slipping away. All you can do is hope that love will never vanish because unlike memories, love cannot be taken away. Throughout this speech, I've talked about all the different fears I feel and we as humans experience. The fear of being in danger, the fear of being judged, the fear of never meeting your expectations or your potential. And then there's my greatest fear, of one day forgetting everything. To me, the fear of being forgotten forgetting people ties into the fear of being forgotten. The thing about fear is you can try to ignore it, but it's always going to be there. Many of the things we fear, we worry about. And there's no point in worrying about something you can't control. Accept the past, live in the now, and don't worry about tomorrow. For as it says in Matthew, tomorrow will worry about itself. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Maya Johnson. I'm in 8th grade and I wrote my own speech. Soccer has been in my life since I was 6 years old. At the time, all I did was play for my town team. The moments I had with my friends there changed my look on soccer. There was this one moment that I realized that soccer could change my life. That I was really good at this sport. At the age of 8 and 9, I was sent to travel soccer and train during the summer. I had made many friends. For example, my friend Ava. We were best friends. We had talked for a while, but she stopped doing soccer due to her getting sick. During the age of 9, I had joined something called NEFC. They had showed me that soccer is something to take seriously. I had a best friend there. Her name was Valentina. We did everything together. There was one moment that I will never forget, where one of us were bumping into each other for a drill, and one of us had done something unbelievable. I will never forget. At the age of 10, I had sadly moved. But I started something called MWV. At the ages 10 to 13, I had continued MWV. But I had also joined a club team. People think soccer is just a game, or a distraction to go outside. They also just do it for exercise. Those people just want their kids to get off their phones and go have fun. There are some parents that don't allow their kids to play sports because they think it's too dangerous. My mother has warned me many times to be careful and not to use my head at all. Soccer is way more than running and an excuse to go outside. Soccer is a sport where you can make friends and learn discipline, but it's also a place where you can learn teamwork. Those things I just said, I have learned because I've played soccer for so long. These friends have shown me teamwork and what it's really like to work in sync. They have shown me that soccer is not just an excuse, but a sport that's fun and that can be learned from. Thank you for listening to my speech.
My name is Ella Daraj, and I'm doing the Spanish Armada by Queen Elizabeth. My loving people, we have been persuaded by some that are careful of our safety to take heed of how we commit ourselves to armored multitudes for fear of treachery. But I assure you, I do not desire to live to distrust my faithful and loving people. Let tyrants fear, but I've always so behaved myself that under God I've placed my chiefest strength and safeguard in the loyal hearts and goodwill of my subjects. And therefore I come amongst you all, as you see, at this time, not for my recreation and disport, but for being resolved in the midst and heat of the battle, to live and die amongst you all, to lay down for my God and for my kingdom and my people, my honor and my blood, even in the dust. I know I have the body, but of a weak and feeble woman, but I have the heart and stomach of a king, and of a king of England too. And think foul scorn that Parma or Spain, or any prince of Europe, should dare to invade the borders of my realm, to which rather than any dishonor shall grow by me. I myself will take up arms. I myself will be your general, judge, and rewarder of every one of your virtues in the field. I know already, for your forwardness, that you have deserved rewards and crowns, and we do assure you, in the word of the prince, that they shall be duly paid to you. In the meantime, my lieutenant general shall be in my stead. Than whom never a prince commanded, am a noble or worthy subject. Not doubting, but by your obedience to my general, by your concord in the camp, and by your valor in the field, we shall shortly have a famous victory over those enemies of my God, of my kingdom, and of my people. Thank you.
My name is Claire McDougall, and I wrote my own speech this year. From as early as when I was 5, I have vivid memories of crouching down in a corner during an active shooter drill. But why do I still remember this, and why was I so scared, even though I knew it was pretend? My sister was even once told, if an active shooter was at her school, to run in a zigzag through the forest to decrease the chances of being shot. It's crazy we live in a society where we are teaching our children Alice active shooter drills and run, hide, fight drills before they know multiplication. These drills have caused my active fear of school shootings. I often spend time focusing on where I could run or hide in the event of an active shooter. If I hear a door open, I turn around to make sure it's just a classmate. School is meant to be a place to learn, not a place to sit in fear. I know some of my classmates experience this as well. This fear is being normalized. From as long as I can remember, school shootings have been a part of the culture here. Shooting after shooting, you expect change. But after the Columbine shooting, and the next shooting, and the next, we have become desensitized. We have become naturalized to the horrors that happen on our school grounds and the fear that is embedded in the American education system. School shootings are being treated the same as fires on campus and natural weather events. But this is not just some inevitable event that we can keep ignoring. We are making it this way by not changing anything. As these guns continue to evolve into weapons capable of massacre, our laws stay the same. I've been told in the past that school shootings are unlikely and that it is not worth living my life in fear. But I will never be able to stop feeling this fear at home, school, and in public until I feel safe. Until every kid going to school in the U.S. with the looming fear of danger and death around every corner feels safe. From 2013 to today, we have seen 1,211 incidents relating to gunfire at school, resulting in 407 deaths, 867 injuries, and classrooms filled with mentally scarred children. This only happens in America. Canada has only seen 2 school shootings since 2013 and has only seen 44 people die from school shootings since 1884. Following these events, they strengthened laws so school shootings would not become a trend. So why don't we change? And why haven't we changed? We all turn a blind eye towards these events. And honestly, I have too. I do not want to hear about the violent deaths of kids my age, but we cannot continue to keep ignoring school shootings. Why are we willing to live with these mass murders of children happening right before us when we could be doing something? This is an American problem. It only happens here. And we cannot continue to call these victims unlucky. They were not just in the wrong place at the wrong time. they were at school. And even the survivors are not really surviving. They are left with what can only be described as emotional scars, unseen damage, and invisible wounds. I also cannot continue to live with the mindset that it is unlikely I get caught up in one of these events, and that my school won't end up as a headline, as these kids may have been thinking the same way I am, ending up on the other side of this unlikely. As many kids at Mollyyocket may remember, we had an accidental lockdown drill. Quiet piano music went over all the phones all throughout Mollyyocket. I immediately started tearing up, worrying that that may have been my last time walking through the front doors that morning. It ended up being an accident, and nothing violent ended up happening, though it did flip a switch in my mind. It made me realize that if that alarm had truly gone off, that I would be living the nightmare that so many children, younger and older than me, have gone through. When will we realize prevention is better than the cure? Preventing these types of violence will always be better than the thoughts and prayers victims are being offered. The point of this speech is not to scare anybody. I want to raise awareness and empathy for gun violence victims and continue the push for the need for national change. We need to stand up for our children's safety before it is too late. One person and one gun can change lives forever. Our voices are the most powerful weapon. Speak louder than guns.
Hi, my name is Dante Carbonero, and I'm talking about the goods and bads of electric cars, like performance, range, and charging. To charge an electric car, you don't have to pay as much as gas. You only have to pay $4 to $5 to charge an electric car. To fill up a gas tank, it can almost be like up to $100 because of the constant rising of how much gas is going up. One of the bads is, in the winter, cold can mess with the battery and tell the wrong mileage you can go. For example, I was on my way to school. My dad's car can go 230 miles on a full charge in the summer, but it said he can only go 160 on a full charge in the winter. And if you're traveling in the winter, that can be a problem for you. And heat and air conditioning also run off the battery the car runs off of, which my dad showed me. When you turn on the heat, it drops down your mileage by 30 miles. That can be a big difference if you're traveling in really hot temperatures and cold temperatures. Lights run off a different battery, so it doesn't affect. Hilly and flat roads can also mess with the battery, because hilly roads you have to accelerate more and it will make you use more power. Me and my dad were charging at a charging station, and we saw how far we would have by the time we got to the border. But by the time it said we would have 40 miles left, but by the time we got to the border, it said we only had around 5 miles left, and by the time we got to our house, it said we only had 2 miles left. We thought we weren't going to make it before we got to the border. You also have adapters to charge your car. Different kind of adapters will be at gas stations. For example, like Tesla has its own charging stations. You can charge your non-Tesla at a charging station if you buy a special adapter, but it won't charge your car as fast as it would charge your Tesla. Different levels of charges will charge your car faster. Level 3 will charge your car in about 45 minutes to an hour. Level 2 will charge your car in around 4 to 5 hours. Level 1 will charge your car in around 48 hours. Not every gas station has all of the levels, or they may not even have any. You also need to rely on an app on your phone to charge your car. So when you go to a gas station, you have to type in a code from the charging station to even get the charging process to start. You also have lower maintenance on the electric car on the motor because you don't have to change belt and oil. An electric car could be better for you if you like quiet, faster, and smoother acceleration. Not all electric cars are faster like the Dodge Challenger. They put like this special type of thing on it that sounds like a gas charger, but it's not like the same because you won't hear like the engine. The F-150 can go 0 to 60 in 5.1 seconds, and the F-150 Lightning can go 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds. It's a big difference. Electric cars also have a lower center of gravity, which improves handling, responsiveness, and safety. A lower center of gravity is when the engine block is closer to the chassis and is closer down to the road than a normal engine. And that's all I have.
Hello, my name is Sam McDonald, and this is my 8th grade speech. Today I'm going to share with you my world of freestyle skiing and how it's evolved into more than a sport, but an obsession and personal outlet for escaping the stresses of life. In a world where the demands of school, sports, work, and other responsibilities can weigh heavily on our shoulders, I have learned that having a passion like skiing can be key to maintaining good mental health and well-being. How many of you wake up every morning and feel like you are living the same day over and over again? Studies have shown that depression in teenagers has been steadily increasing in the past decade, including a study by Harvard showing that 3 out of 5 young adults feel that their daily life lacks meaning and purpose. Skiing has become the thing that I look forward to every day. It fills me with purpose and more appreciation for the life I live. This is why. Every time I go skiing is a new experience. Nothing I do on any given run is the same as anything I've ever done. Every run is different, and I have the ability to try things I've never done before. Learning new tricks is fun, rewarding, and gives me a sense of accomplishment. I also have a great group of friends in my family to ski with, which has helped me progress in the sport and make skiing so much more enjoyable, along with giving me a chance to ski much more than I would otherwise. I have learned that skiing and doing other things with your friends, especially people who are better than you, is key in trying to progress in your sport, and it has helped me a lot in the past few years. And lastly, not very many people have the opportunity to do what I do, financially and with the environment we live in. I have often been angry with the weather this year or with the equipment I have, and forget that most do not and never will have a chance to do what I do every single week. Whenever I express my deep annoyance with school and my normal weekday life, my parents tell me that I need to go into the school week with the same attitude and anticipation that I have when I go skiing. I sometimes think it is so stupid that they would say that, because it would be impossible for me to do that. But I have realized that they really are making a good point, with me doing a sport that is only available to me 4 months every year. That outlook has helped me go into things I'm not looking forward to, like school, with a more positive attitude. Early on this year, after the first snow, I was skiing the small terrain park me and my brothers had made outside my house in the dark every night, using the lights I'd gotten for Christmas. If you don't know what a terrain park is, it's a trail filled with man-made jumps and rail features. When I came inside at 8:30 that night, my dad asked me why I go out there every night. I don't remember exactly what I said to him, but the answer to that question is that I loved doing it. Not because I wanted to impress anyone, because I thought it looked cool, or just because I didn't have anything else to do. I did it because I loved doing it. In conclusion, skiing has given me a passion that I love, and that gives me goals and a sense of purpose. I now realize the universal need for everyone to discover their own passion, whether it be in art, the outdoors, or any other sport. The key is having an anchor that holds us to our true selves, apart from the demands and expectations that can feel overwhelming. Go into everything with a positive attitude. Get out there and do the things you love. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nolan Harper, and this is my 8th grade speech. A few months ago, my parents and I were talking about my speech topic. We were going through different people we admired, and the following quote stood out to me. I am learning to understand it, and I want to explain to you what it means to me right now. You only are free when you realize you belong no place. You belong every place, no place at all. The price is high, the reward is great, by Maya Angelou. What does it mean to belong nowhere? You don't have to belong in any group or situation. You have the power to choose. Mesa was a hard place for me to feel like I belonged. My brothers loved and fully immersed themselves in this Mesa program. I felt like I had to follow their lead. It led me to question whether Mesa was for me or not. I truly had to choose whether I wanted to be here. Every year, I asked my parents to quit because I didn't feel like I belonged. With time and understanding of myself, I came to realize that I didn't belong in the normal way. But I had friends, and I decided to stay. 8th grade had been different. I'm more confident in myself, and whether I belong here or not doesn't matter. It matters that I want to be here. What does it mean to belong every place? Belonging to every place takes a lot of confidence and courage. What would happen if I didn't worry about fitting in? How would I act differently? My initial thoughts is that I wouldn't worry about what people think of me. I would be able to be me 100% of the time and show up as a full person. When I play basketball for the school, I worry a lot about other people's expectations, and I worry that I will disappoint them and everyone will look down on me. On the flip side, when I play at the rec center with just my friends, I'm able to play a different game. I'm much more confident and relaxed. I hope for myself that in the future, I can gain the confidence I need to not care about what others think about me and how I play. This shows me that I can belong everywhere when I don't care about fitting in. The price is high because I have to be vulnerable to situations that I am unfamiliar with, and this takes a lot of courage. It takes courage to be myself. One of my mom's favorite authors is Britney Bos, and this is a quote by her. The bottom line, I believe that you have to walk through vulnerability to get to courage. Therefore, embrace the suck. I try to be grateful every day, and my motto right now is courage over comfort. That is a price worth paying. And the reward is high. The reward is great because I get to be me 100% of the time. When you feel you can be yourself around everyone, you will be free of other people's thoughts. More and more, I belong to myself. I have realized that. I like myself for who I am. I'm very proud of that, and I love me.
Good evening. My name is Zoe Anderson, and I will be reciting JFK's Why Go to the Moon. We set sail on this new sea because there is new knowledge to be gained and new rights to be won. And they must be won and used for the progress of all people. For space science, like nuclear science and all technology, has no conscience of its own. Whether this new force will be used for good or for ill depends on man. And only if the United States occupies a position of preeminence, can we help decide whether this new ocean will be a new sea of peace or a new terrifying theater of war? I do not say we should or will go unprotected against the hostile misuse of space, more than we go unprotected against the hostile use of land or sea. But I do say that space can be explored and mastered without feeding the fires of war, without repeating the mistakes that man has made in extending his writ around this globe of ours. There is no strife, no prejudice, no national conflict in outer space as yet. Its hazards are still hostile to us all. Its conquest deserves the best of all mankind, and its opportunity for peaceful cooperation may never come again. But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? They may as well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because this goal will serve to organize the best of our energies and skills. Because this challenge is one that we are willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, one which we intend to win, and the others too. I do not say. Many years ago, the great British explorer George Mallory, who was to die on Mount Everest, was asked why did he want to climb it. He said, because it is there. Well, space is there, and we are going to climb it. And the planets and the moon are there. And new hopes for knowledge and peace are there. And therefore, as we set sail, we ask God's blessing on the most hazardous, dangerous, and greatest adventure on which man has ever embarked. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nicole Lane, and I'm going to be doing Barack Obama's second inauguration. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Today, we continue a never-ending journey to bridge the meaning of those words with the realities of our time. For history tells us that while these truths may be self-evident, they've never been self-executing. For freedom is a gift from God, and it must be secured by his people here on earth. The patriots of 1776 did not fight to replace the tyranny of a king with the privileges of a few with the rule of a mob. They gave us a government, a republic of, by, and for the people, entrusting each generation to keep safe of our founding creed. And for more than 200 years, we have, through blood drawn by lash and blood drawn by sword, we learned that no union founded on the principles of liberty and equality could survive half slave and half free. We made ourselves anew and vowed to move forward together. Together, we determined that a modern economy needs railroads and highways for speed travel and commerce, schools and colleges to train our workers. Together, we discovered that a free market only thrives when there are rules to ensure competition and fair play. Together, we resolved that a great nation must care for the vulnerable and protect its people from life source hazards and misfortune. Through it all, we have never relinquished our skepticism to central authority, nor have we succumbed to the fiction that all of society's ills can be cured through the government alone. Our celebration of initiative and enterprise, our insistence on hard work and personal responsibility, these are constants in our character. But we have always understood that when times change, so must we. That fidelity to our founding principles requires new responses to new challenges. That preserving our own individual freedoms ultimately requires collective action. The American person can no longer meet the demands of today's world by acting alone, nor can the American soldier meet the forces of fascism and communism with muskets and militias. No single person can train all the math and science teachers needed to train our children for the future, nor build all the roads and network and research labs needed to bring new jobs to our shores. Now, more than ever, we must do these things together as one nation and one people.
Hello, my name is Ezra Wilson, and I'm giving Winston Churchill. I have, myself, full confidence that if all do their duty, and if nothing is neglected, and if the best arrangements are made, as they are being made, we will prove ourselves once more capable to defend our island home, to ride out the storm of war, to outlive the menace of tyranny, if necessary for years, if necessary alone. At any rate, that is what we are going to try to do. That is the resolve of His Majesty's government, every man of them. That is the will and the parliament of the nation. The British Empire and the French Republic have linked together in their cause and in their need, and will defend to the death of their native soil, aiding each other like good comrades to the utmost of their strength. Even though large tracts of Europe and many old and famous states have fallen or may fall into the grasp of Gestapo and the odious apparatus of Nazi rule, we shall not flag or fail. We shall go to the end. We shall fight on France. We shall fight on the seas and in the oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence or growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island home, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight on the fields and in the streets. We shall fight on the hills. We shall never surrender. And if this island, or a large part of it, is subjected and starving, then the army beyond the seas, armed and guarded by the British fleet, will carry on the struggle until in God's good time, the new world, with all its power and might, steps forth to the rescue and the liberation of the old.
Hi, my name is Bella Rossi, and I will be reciting Spanish Armada by Queen Elizabeth. My loving people, we have been persuaded by some that are careful of our safety, to take heed of how we commit ourselves to armed multitudes, for fear of treachery. But I assure you, I do not desire to live to distrust my faithful, loving people. Let tyrants fear. I have always so behaved myself that under God, I will put my chiefest strength and safeguard in the loyal hearts and goodwill of my subjects. And therefore I come amongst you. As you see, at this time, not for my recreation and to sport, but being resolved in the midst and heat of the battle, to live and die amongst you all, to lay down for my God, my kingdom, my people, my honor, and my blood, even in the dust. I know I have the body, but of a weak and feeble woman, but I have the heart and stomach of a king, and a king of England too. And think thou scorn that Parma, or Spain, or any prince of Europe should dare to invade the borders of my realm, to which rather any dishonor shall grow by me. I myself will take up arms. I myself will be your general, judge, and rewarder of every one of your virtues in the field. I know already for your foreignness you have deserved rewards and crowns, and I do assure you, in the word of a prince, they shall be duly paid to you. In the meantime, my lieutenant general shall be in my stead, than whom never prince commanded a more noble or worthy subject, not doubting but by your obedience to my general, by your concord in the camp, and your valor in the field, we shall surely have a famous victory over those enemies of my God, of my kingdom, and of my people. Thank you.
All right, thank you oh so much. Thank you oh so much, everybody. We're going to go to back over the judges. We'll take 5-10 minutes, half hour, 45 minutes, and we will pepper up decisions. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, right to me.
All right, if we could have our seats, please. Thank you so much. Oh, you guys sit right there at School Puppy. It's all right. All right, thank you again so much for staying and waiting with us and coming to speech night. It is to give kids an impossible task. I think Brian Pond says it very well. When you go outside your comfort zone, when you do that giant slider, when you do the zip line, you're going outside your comfort zone. And that's certainly what a lot of our kids did today. When we went into the judges' chamber, also known as my classroom, I said, okay, good job. Now we get to evaluate rainbows, unicorns, summer breezes, and the sounds of ocean waves. Because how are you going to evaluate all those things? So we will start with the 6th grade. 6th grade. In 3rd place, we have a tie. Haley Tibitot and Jasmine Clark. It's 6th grade. They're like, what do we do? We're not sure. In 2nd place, Lady Johnson. And in 1st place, Zoe Henderson. All right, smile for Mrs. Mama Show. Okay. Okay. Even harder were the 7th graders. And I believe we're all set. Yeah, no, we're all set. We're all set. All right, in 3rd place, we had a tie again. We had a lot of ties tonight. In 3rd place for tying was, for 3rd, Nick Elaine. And also in 3rd place, Avery Jordan. In 2nd place, Britney Bos. And in 1st place, Liv Eveleth. You get Nick. That's another awkward Nick picture. All right. Before I go on, I really just want to note how loudly you're cheering for each other. It only goes to show how much you support each other. In 8th grade, tying for 3rd. The math doesn't lie. Tying for 3rd, Avery Turner. Yes, this was the most mathematical wonder of all. Also tying for 3rd, Sam McDonald. And the 3rd tying for 3rd, Claire McDougall. In 2nd place, Solana Manning. And in 1st place, Nolan Harper. All right. Thank you, thank you. Once again, thank you, everyone. I do want to point out your phones. There is a flood advisory in our area. Please drive safely on the ride home. There's been a lot of rain, and the rain will continue to fall. So please drive safely on the way home. Thank you once again. Take care. Huge thanks to Mr. Hammer for doing the sound. There you go, buddy. Thank you so much again. That was good. Hey, they did so good. They did so good. That was good. Thank you again, Joe.